Once upon a time.
There is something most people discover far too late. And once you see it, you begin noticing it everywhere. Maybe you've experienced it yourself. You meet someone for the first time. They're impressive, successful, confident. They know exactly how to present themselves. The conversation is smooth. The smile is polished. Everything about them seems designed to leave an impression. And yet, a week later, you barely remember them. But then there is someone else. Someone who wasn't the loudest person in the room. Someone who didn't seem interested in proving anything. Maybe they spoke less. Maybe they never told you how important they were. Maybe they never tried to impress you at all. Yet, years later, you still remember the way you felt around them. Have you ever wondered why? Why some people are admired while others are unforgettable? The answer has very little to do with beauty. Very little to do with money. Very little to do with status. In fact, one of the biggest misunderstandings in modern life is the belief that people fall deeply for perfection. They don't. People admire perfection, but they connect with presence. And those are not the same thing. Think about the conversations you've had throughout your life. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Most of them disappeared from memory almost immediately. But every now and then, there was a conversation that stayed with you. Not because the words were extraordinary, not because someone said something brilliant, but because for a few moments, you felt understood. You felt seen, not judged, not analyzed, not compared to someone else. Seen. It's a rare feeling, rarer than most people realize. Because today, many conversations are performances. People wait for their turn to speak. They search for the perfect response. They think about how they appear, how they sound, how they are being perceived. But genuine attention has become unusual. And because it is unusual, it has become incredibly powerful. You can see it everywhere. A person enters a room and immediately starts talking about themselves, their achievements, their plans, their experiences. And for a moment, people listen. But another person enters the same room and does something different. They become curious. They ask questions that matter. They listen without rushing. They notice what others miss. And somehow, everyone remembers them. Why? Because people rarely remember who impressed them. They remember who made them feel important. That truth never gets old. Not in friendships, not in love, not in business, not in family. Human beings carry an invisible hunger, a hunger to feel understood, to feel valued, to feel like their existence mattered to someone for a moment. And the people who satisfy that hunger leave marks on our lives that often last for years. This is why confidence is so often misunderstood. Most people think confidence means dominating a conversation, being charismatic, always having something clever to say. But real confidence often looks much quieter. Real confidence is not being afraid of silence, not being afraid to listen, not being afraid to let another person shine. Because insecurity seeks attention, confidence gives attention, and people can feel the difference immediately. Perhaps that's why the most memorable people are rarely the ones trying hardest to be remembered. They aren't calculating every word. They aren't chasing approval. They aren't desperately trying to become important. Instead, they make others feel important. Ironically, that's what makes them impossible to forget. And maybe that's the lesson many people spend years searching for. The deepest connections are not created when someone is fascinated by you. They are created when someone feels understood by you. Not because you were perfect, not because you were extraordinary, but because for a brief moment in a noisy world, you offered something becoming increasingly rare: your presence, your attention, and your genuine understanding. Long after appearances fade, long after achievements are forgotten, that is what remains. And that is what people remember.